All right, let's just jump right into it. Assembly on this scooter is super simple. I didn't even record the unboxing portion because there was just nothing to it. But you've got this black cable that comes unplugged, so you've got to plug that together. So yeah, you're just going to slide the black cable down the tube like that, and then feed your handlebars down in. Slide your handlebars in until it bottoms out, just like that. And then there are 6 screws to hold it all together. Once you get the handlebars in place, you've just got 6 screws that hold everything down, and it's just a matter of using this included tool to tighten everything down. They're Allen heads, so easy peasy. As far as portability goes, this is what the scooter looks like in the back of my van. It weighs 58 pounds, so it is not what I would call easy to lug around, but the way it folds up like this, it's fairly compact, and you can grab it by that center bar with both arms and lug it around fairly easily. Okay, so we'll walk around the scooter now, and I can show you what we get. And I don't know if you can tell in the video, this is a pretty big scooter. I wear a size 10 or 11 depending on the brand. This is size 10 in Converse, so you can see I've got plenty of room on this scooter for my feet. So wheelbase is probably about 4 feet long, so it's a pretty big scooter, and the handlebars sit pretty high. One thing about that, because the handlebars do sit high, and because we've got our handlebar up here and our control screen up here, it does put some weight up here. So with this short little stubby kickstand here, if you park that in soft grass, this will fall over every time. Other than that, I've not had any problems with it. Here's our headlight up front, brake levers. We've got turn signals on our handlebars here. These are our turn signal controls, and I'm going to see if they're self-canceling. I don't think they are, but let's test it out. No, the turn signals do not appear to be self-canceling, but they do beep to let you know that they're on. So if you tap that turn signal again, it'll shut off, and there's our right turn signal. Double tapping the power button goes through our various modes. This is Eco, D mode, and Sport mode. Sport modes are fastest. And this is our walk mode, and walk mode I think will give us like just a few miles per hour. I do love the overall design of the scooter. We got nice standard tires that do take air, so you do have to worry about flats, but these are pretty rugged tires, so they're not solid and they make for a really comfortable ride. We've got a plastic fender up front here. This is our folding mechanism, and you just pull up on that to release. Make sure that this is pushed all the way forward, and then you can swing this down, and there's a latch mechanism right here. You just drop that and you're good to go. To unfold it, you just push in on this latch here, and it's easier to do with 2 hands, and then fold it up and then lock everything back into place. Good to go. Like I said, it's a pretty big scooter. We do have a drum brake in the back here underneath this, and we've got suspension on the scooter. This actually has an inverted fork, so that should be interesting to ride. Let's look underneath the scooter and see if there's anything special down there. So this is our battery down here. It's a 48 volt 13 amp hour battery. I don't see anything special stamped on the motor back here. It is a rear wheel drive scooter. I've seen some conflicting reports on this. I've seen it listed as a 500 watt scooter, and I've seen it listed as a 1200 watt scooter. So we're going to go out and see how it feels. It's probably a 500 watt nominal with 1200 watt peak. These are CST brand tires, so they look like pretty good tires. They are 11 by 2.7 inch tires, There were a few stickers on the side of the scooter over here when I unboxed it, but they were peeling off, and I could tell that they were going to fall off inevitably anyway, so I just peeled them off, and this is what they looked like. The scooter had these two stickers stuck to the side, but they were peeling off, and they were both about to fall off, so here's a picture of them on the screen right here if you want to read them. And this is our charging port. Basically, it's just got a cord that plugs in here. Plain Jane, simple, easy to deal with, and then it closes back up for being waterproof. Back here you can see that the tail light is constantly flashing, which should be a good visual indicator for you to interact with traffic. It gives you that little bit of extra visibility, and if you pull the brake levers, you can see that it works as a brake light. And our headlight up here, it's nothing to write home about. It's better than some that I've seen on other scooters, but that's not something I would trust when it gets too dark. I'd be heading home before the sun sets for sure. Before I go out on a ride, I want to show you what we can do with the app. This is the Invanti app, and I've already got the scooter connected to the app, and I've got the scooter powered on, so it picked the scooter up right away. You can use this app to change through your different modes, and I'm just going to do that on the scooter. I'll show you that later. The big thing you can do with this app is you can lock the scooter, and now we've got a slide right to unlock, and it's marked lock here on the screen. So if I try to take off with the scooter, it's going to start beeping, and it's actually pushing back so I can't roll the scooter easily. That's pretty standard. So now I can just slide to unlock. This is a pretty powerful scooter. It's got a 1200 watt motor and a 13 amp hour 48 volt battery. I was hoping we would be able to unlock a higher speed on this scooter. Not that I really want to ride a scooter that fast, but it's nice to have the option. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist. So this scooter does have a top speed of 20 miles per hour, but with a 13 amp hour 48 volt battery, that's going to take you a pretty long way. We do have some control settings in the scooter here. We can turn cruise control on or off. And basically, if you hold speed on the scooter for about 5 seconds, it will activate cruise control mode. It'll beep to let you know that it's in cruise. And we can also turn on zero start here, which I've turned on. Basically, zero start allows you to just hit the throttle on the scooter and take off from a stop. You've got to pull your brake lever just to activate the zero start, but then from a stop, you can hit the throttle and take off without needing to kick the scooter. If you have zero start turned off, you need to kick the scooter before you can hit the throttle and take off. And as far as braking assist, there are different settings here: weaken, middle, strong, and I'm just sticking with middle. And we've got inductive unlock, and that's where you can set your phone up to unlock the scooter, should you so choose. Basically, that's about it for the app. It's a pretty basic app. You do have where you can change your different modes in here. You can turn the headlight on and off through that button right there. And that's about it for what you can do with the scooter in the app. Pretty basic, pretty plain, but I'm not complaining. I like stuff to be easy. Alright, so we're going to go on a short little ride today. I'm going to do our hill climb and our speed tests on the bike today. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to continue tomorrow and do our range tests out on the trails. But here we go. I am in eco mode right now. We're going to see what our top speed is after I get through this gravel, and we're going to see how it actually rides on the gravel. And it actually rides pretty nice for a scooter, but this is pretty plain, not real big gravel. And as far as eco mode and our top speed, here we go. The scooter is saying 10 miles per hour, and GPS is saying 9 or 10. We're going up a minor in grade up. All right, we're taking off in eco mode. Okay, we are taking off. All right, here we go in eco mode. We're going to see
how fast we can get up to in eco. Got a little bit of a downward slope here, but not much. It's going to level out here in just a second. It's saying 11 miles per hour, but we do have that advantage of a downward slope. Now that we're on flat ground, it looks like it's evened out to about 8 miles per hour. And cruise control did set. That was that beep that we heard earlier. And now it looks like it's holding about 10 miles per hour. We're going to go up into our next mode. This is D mode. And that canceled our cruise control. Suicidal squirrel. Looks like D mode is taking us up to about 15 miles per hour, 16 on the built-in speedometer, and it looks like about a mile per hour less on GPS. Though I am in a wooded area, it might just be running slow, but it looks like D mode is hanging pretty tight at 15 on the built-in speedometer, 14 on GPS. And now for sport mode. Here we go. In sport mode, it feels pretty peppy. That's taking us up to 20, 21. Whoa! Yeah, this part of the path I think is just a little bit too curvy for 20. The scooter does handle nice though. It rides really well. And I gotta tell you, I really like riding it in sport mode. It's pretty peppy for sure. Let's go out to the parking lot where we've got a good straightaway and I can get up to 20 and hold it. All right, here we go, through the parking lot. Yeah, it gets up to 20, no problem. 21 on the built-in speedometer, 20 on GPS. And it looks like cruise control does not work in sport mode. That's probably a safety feature. No, I guess cruise control was on. I just didn't hear it. Let's test that out one more time. Let's go on up to 20 miles per hour and see if cruise control kicks in. Boy, this thing takes off quick. Yep, I just heard it beep for the cruise, so it definitely does work in sport mode. All right, that's it for our speed test. I do want to run out and do a hill climbing test, and after that I'm going to conclude the video for today, and then we'll go out and do our range test tomorrow. So far I'm really liking it. It rides very, very comfortably, and I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of scooters. I've ridden probably 6 to 8 scooters. If I had to guess, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but of all of the scooters that I've tested out so far this one's my favorite. I'm really liking how this rides. It's comfortable, it's peppy, but it's not like overwhelmingly too fast. I had a scooter that would do like 40 miles per hour, but it was not for me. It was kind of junky in how it was built too. And it just kind of felt like it was going to fly apart at that top speed. This one actually, you know, it gets up to 20 really fast, very peppy, and rides nice. So far, really liking it. So I don't know if it's riding any better just because of that inverted fork. I don't know if that's any good or if that's just a gimmick, but I can tell you that it does ride very, very nice. We're going to go over some railroad tracks here and see how it does for soaking up the bumps. All right, here we go, our railroad track test. Not bad. It actually did a really good job of soaking up those bumps. With our speedometer check, it's fairly accurate within a mile per hour, so that's good. A lot of these e-vehicles, you get wildly inaccurate readings, so I'm seeing that anything that's on the built-in speedometer is about a mile per hour faster than what we're getting on GPS, and that's pretty standard with even accurate e-bikes. This is the hill I was talking about. I don't know if you can tell exactly how steep this hill is. It's actually two hills back to back. Here's another one. This one's not as steep, but I'm going to turn around and we're going to climb the really steep one that we shot down. It went right up this hill, no problem, but let's go back and try to tackle this big hill from a dead stop. Now, you're probably not seeing much of a hill here because the fisheye effect from the camera, but I promise you this is a pretty steep hill right here. They say that this hill can tackle a 30% grade. We're gonna see. I'm gonna take off from a dead stop, and here we go. I weigh just a hair under 200 pounds. Scooter weighs 58 pounds. And it climbed this hill no problem at all. That's pretty impressive. That was in sport mode, and that's what I would use to climb a hill anyway, so not bad at all. I'm pretty impressed. So I'm going to say that this is definitely more powerful than a 500 watt motor, and as much power as it exerted coming up that hill, I'm going to say that it probably indeed is a 1200 watt motor. I'm going to ride around a little bit before wrapping it up and doing our range test tomorrow. But I'm going to do the range test out at the trails. Guess we can do a brake test here. We'll do a brake test going down that big hill. I'm going to get it up to top speed. Man, it got windy all of a sudden. But yeah, here comes the big hill. We're going to go down this thing and then I'm going to do a brake test. I'm going to try to just lock them up. Down we go. It's pretty good stopping power. That was a pretty extreme test because I don't know the grade on it, but that's a pretty steep hill. There is no adjustability on these handlebars, and I'm 5'10", so the handlebars come up just past my belly button. So they're pretty tall. This is definitely not a scooter for little kids. All right, if I go any further, I'm going to be running along the river, and this time of the evening, that's going to put more bugs in my mouth than I want. So I'm going to turn around and go back, and we're going to get a final assessment at the end of day one. And I can tell you right now, as far as riding on pavement goes, this thing is great. I've really enjoyed it. I've come 3.4 miles according to GPS, and I really didn't even feel like I went that far. It's just been kind of a joy to ride, so it's just been a fun overall experience. I would have guessed that I went maybe like a mile, so we're covering a lot of ground pretty fast. We're coming up on the end of our ride here, almost back to the beginning. And the end of day one assessment is, I like it a lot. I've come almost 5 miles. By the time I get back, I'm sure I'll be up over 5 miles. But plenty of power, ride's nice, I can't complain, and I left today with like 94% charge on my battery. And we are down to, it looks like 80% charge. All right, day 2 of our testing for the fifth wheel G11 Pro scooter. And this is going to be our range test. Normally when I do a range test, I do it down a paved lake trail. But this scooter has a much bigger battery than most of the scooters that I've tested in the past. So, like, I'm talking twice the size of a battery. This one's coming in at 13 amp hours. Most of them I test have like 7.8 amp hour batteries. So we're gonna go do a 14-mile ride today, maybe a 16-mile ride. We're gonna play it by ear. This trail is a bit rougher than what I normally take a scooter down, but with this thing having its big fat tires and the suspension that it has, I don't imagine there's going to be any problem. And normally when I do a scooter range test, I go like 15 miles per hour. But you know what? I'm just going to tear this wide open at 20, and we're going to go the whole route at 20 miles per hour. That is, unless I feel the battery starts dropping really fast. And that's when I will just drop it down to a lower speed if we need to. But I'm going to do a couple check-ins on this ride, but the plan is to go 7 miles one way, maybe 8, depending on how the battery's holding out, and then turn around and come back. So we'll either be doing 14 miles total or 16 miles total today. So this scooter is doing a fantastic job of soaking up all the bumps on this trail. This is not what I would call a rough trail, but it's not the kind of trail that I want to take a scooter down very often. I ride e-bikes out here a lot. And you know, it's not a super rough trail, but it does definitely have some dips and bumps to it. And this scooter is doing a fantastic job of just absorbing everything and not transferring that up to my legs. And since I am taking this on at least a 14-mile ride in a straight line, basically the entire ride, it's really nice to have that cruise control. I normally don't want cruise control on a scooter because I'm taking them on such short runs. But with this one, since I'm going to be holding the speed for a very long time in a straight line, it's really nice just to set it and forget it. And I can kind of sit back and almost enjoy the ride as a passenger. This is nice. Another thing I just noticed with this scooter that I just put together is that though it weighing almost 60 pounds does hinder its portability, with all of that weight being down in the bottom of the scooter, it does make for a very stable ride. This thing rides like a dream, and I mean, it just like cruises along and feels incredibly stable. A lightweight scooter is great for portability, but it doesn't always give you the most stable ride. This one is keeping the wheels on the ground, and it's just cruising along. I'm digging it. Range update, we're at our 3-mile mark on this trail from where we first took off. We got 4 more miles to go at least, and we're still holding strong at 5 energy bars. I could pull out the app and see exactly where we're at percentage-wise. I'm going to do that at the halfway point. At 3 miles, I don't really think it's worth checking at this point. All right, this marker right here is exactly our 7-mile mark. We're still at 4 bars on the battery meter. I'm going to look at the app and see what it says we're actually at percentage-wise. It's the Invanti app. It says we're at 67%. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go on down the next mile to Eagle Hill. That puts us at exactly 8 miles. That's going to be our turnaround point. And I've been riding this scooter at top speed the entire time, like 20, 21 miles per hour. This scooter weighs 58 pounds. I weigh just under 200 pounds, so it's really making good efficiency of the battery life. So let's go down and do 1 more mile, turn around, and then when we come back, that's going to put us at 16 miles. There is no way I would take most of the scooters that I review on this long of a ride. 16 miles is pretty impressive for a scooter. At least considering the ones that I've ridden. As I've mentioned before, I don't really ride scooters a lot, But I will say that of all the scooters that I've ever ridden, this one is by far my favorite. Take that with a grain of salt though, because like I said, I just don't review very many of them. And the ones that I do review are pretty El Cheapo. Okay, this little eagle statue here is exactly the 8-mile mark from where I started out at. We've got 4 bars on our battery meter here. I'm going to head back now, and we're going to see what the battery life is, percentage-wise, is when we get back at the 16-mile mark. And as I ride back, I'm going to be putting on a face gaiter. So if I sound a little bit muffled from here on out, it's because I don't want a mouthful of mosquitoes, and they are starting to come out. All right, my final thoughts on the fifth wheel G11 Pro scooter. I like it. It rides comfortable. There's plenty of room for your feet. It's built really well. It's got a big battery for a scooter. Yeah, I really don't have anything bad to say about it at all. Now, like I said, I am not a scooter expert. I've only really reviewed a handful, and most of the ones that I have reviewed have been really cheap scooters. This one is a massive step up from most of the entry-level scooters that I review. This one costs just a hair under $600. It's $599. Is it worth that? To me, it feels like it is, but again, I'm not a scooter expert. I think that value is definitely here. As far as getting where you need to go, this is going to take you there and be a lot better commuter than, say, one of those $200 scooters that you can grab off of Amazon. Those things just don't have the range that this thing does. And that's my favorite thing about this scooter, is the range and the ability to ride it for a long range with the comfort. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. But stick around till the end of the video if you want to see where our battery life is at by the end of the ride, which will be 16 miles. And it'll be 16 miles of me running this thing flat out. And again, I weigh 200 pounds. The scooter weighs 58 pounds. So yeah, pretty efficient battery life so far. I can't complain at all. A small note here for our ride back. This is an almost unnoticeable uphill grade going all the way back. So we'll burn a little bit more energy going back, but it will definitely be noticeable that we do burn a bit more energy on the ride back. All right, we're coming up on the end of the ride here. We've got just a little bit of ways to go to get back to the parking lot, and we're at 1 energy bar on the gauge here. And when we pull in up here, I'm gonna stop and we're gonna get an actual percentage reading from the app. All right, according to the app here, we're down to 19% on the battery, so that lines up pretty good with the 1 bar that we have left. And again, I weigh 200 pounds. We went 16 miles, and the scooter weighs 58 pounds. So just a note for anybody who is not aware, if you ride slower, you will go further. Speed definitely kills your range. It takes a lot of power to maintain that speed. I rode top speed the entire time, so if I would drop maybe even 5 miles per hour, you would get, you know, considerably more range out of this. But for a 16-mile ride on a scooter, I was not about to go any slower than top speed. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.